Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and of course hang out with all y'all and talk to y'all. Thank you so much for being here. If you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Baer Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote in the chat. Let the people know that you are a subscriber. Lashbrook is here. Hi Lashbrook. Let me know. Also, as always, if you're not a subscriber, you could just say hi. You could throw emotes in from somebody else. That's cool too. We got Jam here. Hell yeah. Happy to have you. Welcome, everybody. You know, this is the intro portion of the stream. If you're new to the stream, you don't know what's going on. This is a model kit building stream, Lego building stream. If you watched me yesterday, that was my bonus stream. It confuses people. Hey, Aristofan, welcome. Because people are like, are you a variety streamer? And I'm like, kind of. I'm not a variety streamer. I'm a model kit building and a Lego builder who once a week does something that is not those things. And there's a variety of things I do besides that. So I guess I am a variety streamer with a focus on model kits and Lego sets. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. But I don't feel like I'm really a variety streamer. I feel like I'm a builder who does a little extra. Because right now, building 4 times a week is out of my budget. Because I don't make any money doing anything right now. But anyway, that's a little besides the point. We're going to hang out here. We're going to wait for a few more folks to join us. I'm going to burp, and that's unprofessional of me. I'll tell you with that. Very unprofessional. We're building a Deathscythe, y'all. We're working on a Deathscythe. This is the original Gundam Deathscythe. This is the 2010 re-release of the kit, but this is the Roussette unit, which means that we're going to build the whole kit. We're going to get to step 11, the backpack, and we're going to go, no, fuck that backpack. We got a different backpack to build. We're going to take different parts, build a unique, different backpack that has wings on it that kind of look like the Wing Gundam's wings, but aren't really that. Completely different unit that way. And it changed it because this is from the manga. And so the manga was like, let's take the original designs and then kind of change them up a little bit. We're going to kind of go in direction, but we're not going to go in the endless waltz direction. And I will point out the confusing thing that the choice they made, which is a terrible choice. When all of these re-releases came out, all these kits came out, anything from Gundam Wing is referred to as Gundam W Endless Waltz. I'm going to put that right there. So, that's confusing because Endless Waltz is an OVA, and it should denote the model kits presented in that OVA, which are different from the television show. Now, most kits had a revision of some sort because they were there's the Deathscythe Hell, the Shenlong becomes the Ultron Gundam. And then the wing is destroyed, and then there's the wing. It's not the wing. The wing zero. Yes, the prototype wing zero is used because the Gundams are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not in order of appearance, in a different order. It's fine. It's okay. You don't need to know that. But yeah, they started just calling everything Endless Waltz, even though they're not Endless Waltz. These are not Endless Waltz kits. But that's what they started branding them as. Because this is the Roussette unit, so that's like an alternate to Endless Waltz, which is kind of its own little side story within. But I like to think it's canon because the Tall Geese 3 fucking owns. Also, the Deathscythe Endless Waltz version is fantastic. Because Deathscythe Hell is okay. I mean, it's just like the flappy kind of shit. It's got a double beam. So, I mean, it's double saber. So, it's still good. But it's just not as good as it could be. You know what I mean when I say that. Anyway, we're going to get started with our build in just a minute or two. I like to do this little intro portion, let people kind of come in, let people get settled. Maybe you just turned on the stream and you went to go get something, and then I started talking, and you were like, oh no, my snack, my popcorn is not done popping. Oh no. If you haven't had popcorn in a while, let me recommend you get some popcorn. It is worth the little kernels. that are annoying, and that one that you just can't reach, and you're just like gargling whatever you're drinking, trying to get at it, and you're like, do I have to brush my teeth now? I don't want to do that. Popcorn, still fucking worth it. That's the Pat Bear promise to you. Recommending popcorn. Not a thing I thought I would say today. But yeah, I like to kind of wait around, see if anyone wants to join us. We had some new faces in the chat last night watching the stream because we were raided by Mr. Dave Lang. Joseph J. Brony gave us a raid, which was very nice of him. Do I wish that he had raided when I was build streaming instead of playing Hearthstone poorly? Not, you know what? Honestly, not really. I think either stream would have been fine. The fact that it was Hearthstone, I think, is just totally okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to retweet my tweet to kind of remind people to come see the stream. And then we'll get going. Hey, Lord Crashington, welcome. Let's go to the overhead. I've been thinking about this, talking about mentioning Twitter a little bit here. Oh, you can see we got the head here. We've got our head in the chest unit. We've got our shoulders done. We're now going to do the parts of the arms you can do on either side, and then we have to do the right arm, and then we'll do the left arm. So we can do another thing in a two-step process. So let's move this stuff to a side. We will need one of these shoulders in a moment, but we can get this part done here. So, good evening. Welcome, Professor Zoidberg. Happy to have you here. Welcome. So this was a thought I had. Do you, and you let me know in the chat, or the comments, you can let me know in the chat if this is you, if this is the thing you do. And if not, yeah, it's fine, whatever. But let me know if this is something you do. Do you turn off retweets from people? Like, specific people? Are you like, I like this person. I do not want them to retweet. Like, not to put them on the spot, but there is a professional wrestler who follows me, and I follow them. And they are fantastic. On the night that their television program airs on television and the internet, they retweet every tweet the company puts out and several wrestlers that are also in the promotion who I do not follow. On the night that their show goes on the air, they will retweet probably 40 or 50 times. And that's too much. And as I said, I enjoy this person on nights that is not them doing that part of their job. And so I just turned off retweets because I was like, I do not like you enough for this. So I started to wonder, have people done that for me? If you don't know, if you don't follow me on Twitter, if you just, I don't use social media enough to be bothered by bad social media habits. Totally understand. Congratulations. I mean that honestly. That's awesome. I use social media quite a bit. But yeah, so today, right, at noon, I posted my tweet saying in 9 hours I'm going to be streaming and what I'm going to be building. And then I say, join me at 9 p.m. Eastern for the stream. That's my self-promotion. I include a photo of the kit that I'm working on, the same photo you can see right over wherever. You see opposite me. That wasn't directed to you, Pat. Rest fan. That's totally okay. No, but I'm talking out loud, right? Because this is a thing I've done, so are people doing that with me? And it's a question that I'm asking. But if you are, that's fine. But that's okay, Rest fan. Yeah, no. I'm kind of just thinking out loud here. And so it does cause me to wonder, like, so I post at noon, includes a photo. Now, that tweet, I usually write beforehand and schedule it, because I can schedule tweets. And, oops, I dropped my piece here, so I got to get that. That's easy enough to pick up, though. So I schedule my tweets. It makes my life a lot easier. I can spell check it. I can look at it. And then I will schedule it. It goes out. And I don't have to be in front of the computer on my phone when it comes out. Once that goes up, I then set up 3 retweets. I retweet at 3 p.m., at 5 p.m., and at 7 p.m. And say, like, hey, in this many hours, I'll be streaming again. I'll be streaming. And I wonder, how many people that follow me never see any of those retweets. They may not, because the whole idea is, well, I don't want to tweet just once. And I can add, the nice thing about the retweets is I can add extra information. Dirty just subscribed. Evening, Pat and chat. That's 14 months. Thank you so much, Dirty. Let's hit the old emotes here. Thank Dirty for that. Hit the Baer Cave Lego Scythe if you're a tier 2. Thank you so much for renewing. I appreciate that very much, Dirty. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, so yeah, it's kind of gotten me thinking about that. Like, okay, well, should I retweet? Even though I do add more information, should instead of retweeting, should I just tweet a couple times instead and just make them fresh tweets? Because also when I go live, that's a completely separate tweet. And the other thing is, this is a minor thing. It doesn't really matter. You can't schedule a retweet until you make the original tweet, right? So the tweet at noon, once the noon happens, then I can schedule other tweets to go out. And then they just go out and I don't have to worry about them. I have to sit there. I don't have to do what I used to do, which is set alarms on my phone to remind me to retweet the tweet that I had made. So scheduling tweets is very helpful to just avoid that piece of nonsense that was part of my life. But yeah, it makes me wonder, like, should they just be their own? Do I retweet those too often? I do, as I said, the retweets are adding extra information. Like, you know, it's not just a pure retweet, it's a quote tweet. So I don't know. But I've been thinking about engagement, and, you know, which is not a great word. Oops, I put this on backwards. You can see this is how it should be. And this, maybe you can tell that. They're wrong. So I got to flip this open here. I can use my finger there, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that stuff as, you know, I try to grow a little bit. I have reached out to some friends about possibly making appearances on things because it's been a while since I did that. I will say I was a little bummed. Digital packs did not give me the bump that live packs often gives, and that was kind of a shame. And I briefly appeared in one panel, and I had one panel of my own. So I didn't get the bump that I often get, and that was kind of frustrating. And I hoped that making Loading Ready Run has doing a couple things there. The live appearance I did for them definitely got me a bit of a jump there, which was very, very cool, and I was really happy about that. So that was really nice. I did get a bit of a jump there when I made a live appearance. But my voice appearances for Kathleen's Island Tour have not hit the same amount of kind of like exposure that I would have hoped for. So yeah, I've kind of been looking to do a few more things, because I'm sure there are people who liked my appearances on Giant Bomb, like, you know, especially Beastcast appearances or whatever, or panels and stuff, who don't know that I stream. They didn't listen the last time I was on to plug whatever. They know I do packs, but they don't know that I do this stuff, and it just hasn't heard of it. Or they were like, oh yeah, I know Pat does that. I'll check that out someday, and that someday never comes. But, you know, I don't know. Because of the weird algorithms that Twitter uses to choose which messages people see, I don't blame you for doing the retweets. Yeah, I mean, part of it is just like, noon is a good thing to be like, hey, in 9 hours, like, that's me telling you, here are your plans for the evening. That's kind of like what I like to do with that. But it's also the thing that, like, that's 9 p.m. Eastern. Or, not, sorry, that's, my stream's at 9 p.m. That's noon Eastern. So that's 9 a.m. on the West Coast. That's early to be sending out a promotional tweet. But I don't want to wait too long. I am not a big enough thing that I can just put a tweet out saying, hey, I'm live, and that's just the end of it. There are obviously plenty of folks that do know that I'm going live and do know what's going on with me, and you know, I very much appreciate that people do pay attention to what I'm up to. But I can't assume that everyone is paying attention to what's going on. I mean, there was a thing when I ran a Kickstarter. I posted my second Kickstarter. My first Kickstarter was a huge, immediate success. I wasn't asking for a lot of money. I had never asked for money before. And Vinny Caravella retweeted it within 5 minutes because since it was the first time I had ever fundraised, I emailed anyone I knew that had a social media presence. And so Vinny retweeted it, my initial tweet, within 5 minutes of me posting. And within an hour, I had raised money. As I said, it was not a lot of money. This was not a big deal. This was to go to San Antonio for the first PAX South. Because it was so close to PAX East, I couldn't go on my own. So I did the fundraiser, the Kickstarter for it. It was kickstarting the video that I was going to make by filming my panel. And then it ended up being live streamed. So I didn't really even have to film it. But, it was for me to be able to go. But that worked really well because I had the bump of Vinny. And then, like, an hour later, I got a SNL actor to retweet because I'm friends with Bobby. And, he was in the cast at the time. And so that was very helpful as well, certainly. But my second Kickstarter, the second Kickstarter I ever did, that took longer, right? I had already done a Kickstarter. I was established. People knew that I had a full-time job and maybe were a little less interested in supporting that, or the rewards weren't certainly huge. I should also shout out to the GB community is incredible when it comes to charity streams. I think they're over 1 million for Extra Life. Yes, totally. Also, I had like two fundraisers, the two high tiers in Kickstarter, right? And it was I will do a sub. It was you could pick a topic that I will talk about, right? And one of the people that gave money was a chip in of the Giant Bob subreddit, pooled money to like basically have me make fun of Dan Reichert, which we weren't too harsh with Dan, but I did talk about Dan, which was fun. Which is very nonsensical but fun. But yeah, second time around. So the second time around, it didn't take the entire time, but it took a while to hit my stretch goals the second time, right? So the second time I did a Kickstarter, I posted on Facebook and Twitter every single day. I had a video. The first time I had a video I shot myself. Second time I had a produced video with audio in the background. I did everything that I was instructed to do by friends of mine who worked for Kickstarter at the time. So it was a good little video. I even took notes, and because I sent it ahead of time. It was the comedy and theater staffers, editors, made it a project we love. So it got attention on Kickstarter.com. Now, those categories don't get a lot of people who just back things they don't know anything about. It's not like, I'll talk about that in a little bit, because there's some interesting thing about a Kickstarter that I've learned over the years that I actually think are fascinating. But, so I did get a little attention on that, but at the end of the day, the reason I'm telling this story is, what I learned was there are people who never saw a post of mine on Facebook about it. And I would mix up. Some posts, I wouldn't link to it. I would say, hey, and I would write it out. Sometimes I would link the video, and it was a video post. Or it would be a photo of, like, I announced one of my guests. Here's Alex Navarro. Please come to my panel. Or here's Aaron Treitz, and it's a photo of Aaron. And then at the bottom, I would say it. So I mixed things up. I tried to kind of mix things up, but there were a lot of people who never saw my post on Facebook, and they did see it. They did see it on Twitter, depending on what time of day I posted. So I learned a lot about that stuff. Now, the Kickstarter stuff that I think is interesting is, okay, so let's say you're making something on Kickstarter. There are people who will back things just because it seems like a cool thing and they want to support cool things. If they know who you are in some capacity. If they've heard your name, they've seen it, you've made a product they've already seen and maybe even bought, they're interested, right? They'll back it. Kickstarter isn't often interested in just backing a thing that seems very cool. You need a little bit more, especially with big name things, objects, and also games, particularly video games, not coming out, right? So quickly there was some buyer's remorse, and that became a thing where people stopped backing just things that were interesting to them, right? So that's true for every category except two. One of them is dance. Now, dance is the smallest category of Kickstarter projects. And possibly because of that, because there aren't a lot of people doing new dance initiatives and kickstarting dance initiatives, folks that have disposable income just want to see dance projects happen. So you'll have people who go and look in that tag, and they look in that category, and they will back things that they'll never see. But they're interested in really pushing the art of dance and the continuing of it. So an interesting dance project will get attention from people who otherwise, would never have heard of it, but it's a Kickstarter because they're looking. And the one of the biggest modules, one of the biggest categories in Kickstarter, which is full of people backing things that they have no idea what it is, except it's a great idea. They don't know the person that made it. They don't know the company behind it. They might not even know who's actually physically making it, is tabletop. And within tabletop, the subset within tabletop is D&D modules, stories, written stories, PDFs with some art of stories that a GM can tell, DM in this specific case, can tell based on work that someone else made. People just want to back a cool tabletop thing. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. It could be the first project you ever made. If it sounds cool, if your art images look fucking neat as hell, people go on that every day and they check every day for new projects. And they back them. Because that is a category of people who are just they want you to succeed. They don't know you, but they want it to work, which is fascinating. And the modules within that is the thing. This was told to me by a former Kickstarter employee who would do outreach as part of their job. That's similar to my favorite wrestling YouTube channel. They left the crowded market of gaming to cover wrestling because the market was more open to new channels. Yeah, I have found from my own experience, I am always willing to try out a new wrestling news or wrestling critique or wrestling reviews channel because I only like one of them and I tolerate two or three others. But I'm always looking for new stuff like that. Yeah, that definitely feels like a similar thing of people just giving it a chance to be like, all right, well, let's see if this will work because I really want it to. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do this one here. Yeah. Gonna do these hands. Gonna catch these hands. All right. So yeah. That is a thing that I've learned a lot about Kickstarter. So, okay. So. Kickstarters for comedy projects fail all the time because people don't think that web series should cost money to make. And web series, if they're good, cost money to make. Here's a fun fact for you. One of my favorite comedy television shows, Broad City, started as a web series. I'm actually in an episode of the web series. My voice is. You don't actually see me. They're in a movie theater, and I am yelling at them to shut the fuck up. Something similar to that. I can't remember. It's been a while, but it's that thing. So we're in a movie theater. I'm telling them to shut up. It's a fun little scene. They did their whole thing. They did their series, their web series. They were in the process of trying to figure out, can we make a pilot? They were working on that. They were like, let's do something big and wild for our last episode of the web series. Let's do a Kickstarter for our web series to finish it off. We want to shoot a, we've been making this on whatever cameras we had with favors and borrowing stuff. Let's shoot the finale of our dreams and make it feel like, almost like it's our pilot, kind of like a backdoor pilot in a way. This is what we could do with money, and we'll kickstart it. So this was a really well-regarded web series. It had a lot of interest. A lot of people really liked it. It garnered a lot of views. People were real interested in it. And it did not raise enough money. It was a failed Kickstarter project because it did not garner enough interest from people who were not friends of theirs. Strangers were not interested in backing this thing. Even though the web series existed, this isn't like, hey, we want to shoot this, here's our pitch. It was like, hey, we shot all this, we want to finish off strong. And it didn't work. That's why comedy films, comedy sketches, shorts, those kind of things, sketch shows, those projects go to Indiegogo because you keep the money that you raise. So even though you're not going to hit your goal, you can get some money because people are more interested in donating to an Indiegogo than they are to people they know than they are strangers are interested in a Kickstarter. It's just the way it works, fortunately or unfortunately. One of my favorite examples is one of my favorite examples of a Kickstarter that did succeed. This comedy Kickstarter is Kurt Braunholler. Kurt Braunholler, who I don't know how you'd know Kurt. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's a great actor. He's had some podcasts that have been great. You may know him from Hot Tub, which is used to be a New York based and now is an LA based stand-up show with Kristen Shaw. Kurt Braunholler raised a ton of money on Kickstarter to write very silly nonsense messages from a skywriter, and raised a bunch of money to do that, and it was a success, and it was one of the most successful Kickstarters for a comedy project because people who did not know Kurt thought that idea was very good. And so he was able to tap into a market that otherwise is not interested in comedy projects. Because also people could say, oh yes, hiring a skywriter or one of his other projects, getting a bunch of billboards, I know that costs money. I understand that that would cost money. So I have no problem helping him out. Whereas we want to film a thing, people would be like, well, don't you just max out your credit cards like Kevin Smith did? You just do that, right? You don't need a lot of money to make a sketch show. It just looks bad, right? You just make it look bad. So that ends up being the big part of, unfortunately anyway, a big part of that and why those projects don't succeed is people don't have imagination for them. I have not seen any Professor Zoidberg asked if I have seen a particular person's stuff on YouTube, but I will. Who's best gets comedy on there right now? I appreciate that. I will take note. I will copy their name and put it in my Google Doc of things and take a look later. But yeah, I don't know. It's such a strange thing because I have helped out a little bit as a person that has had some successful Kickstarters and know what I like and blah blah blah. I've had time to chat with people about their Kickstarters, and I've also been in a unique position of having the ear of people who worked for the company. So I was able to talk to people about those kind of things. And yeah, it's interesting to see like where the money is and where the money isn't, and the projects that are this is just to make it better, and the projects that are if we don't get We didn't actually account for how much it's going to cost to mail things. Oh no. Oh no. We should have asked for a lot more money. Taxes, YouTube's cut, or Kickstarter's cut. Oh no. Oh no. We need to have a stretch goal because we didn't think about this. There's a lot of stuff like that, unfortunately. But that's always my big thing. My biggest thing was just um, do whatever you can not to have physical rewards if you can. I mean, obviously, you can spend the money on backer kit or stuff like that to help out with that. But like, if you can avoid having physical rewards on your Kickstarter project beyond whatever you're making or doing, you should definitely do that because it just. I remember one of the big issues that friends of mine had is they had a very successful Kickstarter, right? And they had all these grand plans for. They made a fatal error. So they were like, they did tiers of merch, right? So everyone who backed it at the minimum level got a poster. And then you would get a poster and a t-shirt. And then you would get a poster and a t-shirt and pins. I forget the order. But it would go up and up. You would get, and then the one of the top, or a USB key with all our previous music. And then like the second to last tier was a record. And then the last top tier was a glow in the dark record. But the thing is, every tier got you all the previous ones. So they had it in their head, we'll wait until we get everything. And then once we have everything, we'll mail out everyone's merch. Because we're doing it ourselves. We're not using backer kit to do it. We'll just get, one of our friends has access to a storage space. We'll just keep everything there. Well, the problem arose. The company that was making their records couldn't make records for them because there's only so many people in the country that do, or in the world, but especially in the country, that do vinyl. And the company that did the glow-in-the-dark vinyl, that group went out of business. So they had to find other people to do it. And even though they had posters and t-shirts, they were waiting until they had all the merch to do all their merch. So people who were like, I gave you $25. All I want is my poster. Why can't I have my poster? And they're like, well, you can't have your poster because we made a very poor decision and didn't talk to anyone about how we should restructure our things. And we shouldn't have had get everything. Because then they just couldn't send things out in waves as quickly as they needed to because they just grossly misunderstood what they were supposed to be doing. And eventually it worked out, but it definitely took a very long time, and they definitely angered a lot of their fan base because like the album had come out and people got it digitally, but they were like, it's like months later suddenly I've got my my poster, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. At least they could digitally get the CD, so that worked out all right. It was a bad scene. Bad scene. I've watched a lot of people really screw up crowdfunding. Beyond the just you don't actually have a plan or a project or an idea. You just one of my favorite things is to look in the tabletop is people who are pitching things where one of the things they're raising money for is getting the license for the project they're doing. There was a tabletop game that someone wanted to make that was a Batman-themed tabletop game, and one of their goals in funding was licensing that. Had they made any inquiries into how much that would cost or if it was possible or wanted? No. And it was like, oh, well, don't have a Kickstarter then. Why do you think that's going to work? Are you going to just email them and go, hey, I raised a bunch of money. Batman, please. What are you talking about? The only people that should do Kickstarters with a lot of physical items are those affiliated with online retailers. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of that, right? Like, I mean that's the thing, right? So if you're going to do physical products, you're going to make a physical product. You're going to make a card game, right? Well, then there's companies that you can go to design your card game who will fulfill making the card game, right? There used to be. Well, you just email one of like 3 or 4 people who will hook you up with how they got it. Like they know who the boats that come from China, who had to make a contract with the Chinese company that's going to make your cards and put them on a boat. And then backer kit is another, obviously, a great way to go with that. There's the was a cool box, yeah, the sub company that's a split off of Cards Against Humanity. Basically, like there are now, and there are alternatives to that. There are companies that then became fulfillments for your project, and they will work with you before you launch your Kickstarter with like, this is how much it's going to cost, this is what you need, this is what we do, and you basically create a thing. And there are deals where you pay for prototypes and all that, and then also there are some people that just make runs because they're like, I'm not going to kickstart this. I have enough funds to just go to conventions and demo and sell. And then there are other people that are like, I am making enough. I am working with this company with the premise that if we make enough money, then we will go ahead and do it. The key phrase before you launch. Exactly. And that's the example of the tabletop games that are licensed games without they're licensed games expecting to eventually get a license. So they're not even like, this is legally distinct. This is our legally distinct incredible man from a different planet that came here and can run faster than a subway train and is able to jump really far and whatever you're going to say. It's not that. It's sometimes people are just like, yeah, I want to make a Batman thing. So I figured out how to do that. I'm going to make a Superman. I'm going to make a Superman module for D&D. And we'll license it with both companies. And people are like, how? And they're like, I don't know. Well, once I get a Kickstarter and I have all this money, I mean, they're not going to turn down money, right? And you're like, I mean, yeah, dude. What are you talking about? In search of followers, primes, and views. Oh, well, that's a fun tweet from. Or sorry, that's not even a tweet. That's a fun message from someone who is getting banned. Drop the old ban hammer down. You're dead. You're gone. I thought that was someone who was making a comment about the conversation we were having. Because it was a little close to that conversation. It was enough to fool me. It was not that. That was somebody that was begging me for the ban hammer. It's pretty rare that we do that. We don't ban people too often. Luckily, we rarely ban people from being complete and utter garbage piles and coming in here being garbage peoples in their garbage piles. They are garbage. They live in garbage. They have become that which they live in. But we don't see a lot of spam in here. Yes. Yeah, well, no, that's the thing, right? So in their minds, the reason why people haven't done that is because it's like, well, you didn't make anything successful. I'm making something successful. So when I make the successful thing, they'll have to want to talk to me and work with me because I made a thing that's going to make them money. And you're like, they turn down great people all the time for any number of reasons that have nothing to do with quality of the work. You're a nobody who raised a bunch of money that you probably put in yourself at the beginning, a good portion of it, to make it look like it's a popular idea, product. I don't know why you were approved. I will retweet this, and then hopefully someone at Kickstarter who follows me will see it. Now I have a few people at Kickstarter that follow me, but I don't have enough anymore. Because occasionally I would retweet some kind of garbage thing, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't exist anymore. And I'd be like, yeah, All right. We don't need people to be giving their money to this, wasting their time on this. Take that shit to Indiegogo. All right. We're done with the upper body here of our Deathscythe. Look at that Deathscythe. Look at that Deathscythe. The top half of our Deathscythe. This is, as I said, the 2010 kit. I have gone with the hands that will properly grip our beam saber, our beam scythe, I should say. Beam saber. Who would use a beam saber? We're gonna go with the beam scythe. And now it's time to work on the legs, and we're gonna work on them feet. So we'll get our feet out. We need some XBs and some H's. And we can do these at the same time, which is very helpful because they are identical footsies. And then we need H as well. This is all our new shit. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful I. I1 and I2. These are all our new pieces. These pieces are our wings and our backpack pieces. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful untouched pieces that we haven't used for anything else, that we won't use until it's time. Oh, lovely. Anyway, has the quality of plastics used in kits like this gone up or down over the years? I would say they've gone up. Model kit making. So I would say if you take a high grade from the years 2015 till now, and you compare them with a high grade in the 90s or even the 2000s, the quality of detail and craftsmanship is, and the joints that were weighted too heavily and now move around, are stiffer and work better. The real grades, which are the same scale, the 144 scale is a high grade but are more detailed. The process of working on those has made it so that the byproduct of that, of people working very hard on those new kits, is that high grades are a way better quality than they used to be. They've gone up just along for the ride, which is awesome as someone that builds all kinds of grades. So yeah, I would say top to bottom, especially as a someone that does not read Japanese kanji. The amount of English and the notations in manuals has increased so much, and which for me is huge. Hello, Harold. Welcome. Happy to have you here as always, my friend. Thank you, Cheered 21 bits. Thank you so much. Starting the month off right. Let's hit the old applause button there. Harold is now top of our bits leaderboard because it's a new month. It's October. September is over. It's October. There's nothing else going on with that. But yes, so if you gifted one sub, you'd be top of that leaderboard. Harold is top of the bits and coins leaderboard, as they are the first person to give theirs. So thank you, Harold, old H-Bomb and friends. But yeah, fundraising, kickstarting stuff is there's I don't know, there's not a science to it, but there are best practices. I mean, there are consultants. If you were going to do a music project, you can hire Laser Weber of the Double Clicks, one half of the Double Clicks. Laser has run several very successful music-based Kickstarters, and you can hire Laser to consult your project, which is great. I've been known to do a little consulting of my own, generally for free. I've generally donated my time depending on the project and the people involved. If they are a complete and utter stranger and I know nothing about them, then I'm going to charge for my time. If it's somebody that I know and I'm excited about what they are doing, I will certainly do it for free. And if it is someone that I know and they're doing a very nonsense thing and they shouldn't be doing it, the thing is, it's like, you can pay me and I will tell you very nice things about what you're doing. But if you have me for free and I think it's a bad project, I'm just going to straight up tell you, you should not do this. You should not submit it. Here are the places you could look to change. And I have some people that have been very annoyed with the feedback I have given them. Like, they do not want to hear that they should reshoot their video, their promotional video. They need to reshoot it because the audio is terrible and people will stop watching the video. And if they stop watching the video, you are not getting a backer. People do not want to hear that. Or uh, you you need to actually put things in the reasons this may fail, like the challenges thing. You need to actually write the challenges out in there and not just say we do not expect any challenges. No, you do expect them. You need to say the factory could get slow if we do not have funds before this date. Like whatever. One of us is in school. You need to say like whatever. One of us is, it could possibly. One of us is expecting a child. Like you have to say all of the things that could be happening before you're, to people. And you have to be honest about that stuff. You can't lie about those things. Good audio on a budget is really difficult but really important. Yes, Professor Zoidberg. As I said, I did 2 Kickstarter videos for 2 different projects. My first one is fine. It's like me into my phone. It's lit pretty well, so I do appreciate that. But the audio is my phone, which was a decent iPhone at the time, but like not great. My second video was done on a DSLR by a competent filmographer who also edited it, put music under it. We had different looks and different spots. I had a lapel mic to a zoom to get the audio, and the audio was fantastic. The production went up. It cost me money. I had to pay this person fucking money to get that done the way it was done. But the end result was a video that I was happy with that looked like I knew what I was doing. And so it was worth it. Hey, Mr. Bob, welcome. Happy to have you here, my friends. Welcome to the old Baer workshop. Working on our... This is the wrong piece? This is the wrong piece, yeah. Working on our Deathscythe. I have the wrong piece. I pulled the wrong piece out. Yes, I did. I was like, why is this not lining up right? Because it is not the right piece. The answer is, it was the wrong piece. Learned a valuable lesson. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? And now it's like, I would have to review a lot of stuff because I don't really look at Kickstarters as much as I used to. So I would have to do some more research before I would give opinions on a lot of stuff. And there's some stuff that's still fundamentally just true when it comes to a good Kickstarter project. But there are other things that I'm like, oh, okay. I could probably kind of want to look at that again and kind of see what people are up to and what they're working on these days, so I can give valid criticism to people. I do know things that read, and sometimes people take my advice, and other times they don't take my advice. Like a certain project that I will go remain nameless, but was puzzle based and had a magic component. So they had known magicians giving testimonial about the group and the project. And then they included noted lover of magic, Randy Pitchford. And because I knew the person and because I was not being paid to do this, and it was just a friend was asked for a favor, I said, hey, I know that he is a lover of magic, but he is also a garbage person, and I don't think you need a garbage person telling people that your game is great. The folks that you will alienate is far higher than the folks who will say, oh, Randy Pitchford thinks this is cool? So maybe fucking don't. And they did not take that advice. Known lover of webcam. Yes. Respecter of webcam tricks. Leave it at that. Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is... Why take that name off? What are you even doing? What the fuck? That's a garbage man. I can understand why the people producing a Gearbox presentation at PAX can't tell Randy Pitchford, hey, don't talk on this, because that's their boss. But if you're making a thing, you can very easily not have fucking Randy Pitchford there. It's very easy to not include Randy Pitchford. And if he happens to notice, hey, you didn't use my name, you can just say, we had so many credits, we want to save it for the next release. You know, we're going to come out with one later. If you want to placate Randy fucking Pitchford, you can. Just be like, oh yeah, well, when we do the expansion, we'll put your name in there, but we want to save it. We think that, we don't, whatever dumb bullshit you want to say to fucking Randy Pitchford, if you want to placate the man instead of just being like, we royally goofed up. We can't do that. The person who asked you didn't think about shit. Fucking yikes and a half. Anyway, crowdfunding. Right now, very difficult. If you go to twitter.com/PatBaer and look for a retweet I did today, I retweeted one Benjamin Wheeler, Ben Wheeler of Loading Ready Run, who is a known, lovable curmudgeon and wonderful weirdo in the Magic the Gathering community, who has an unfortunate large amount of money that they're trying to raise because their very old cat needs a manual expression of their bowels, and it's not surgery, but it is going to cost a shitload of money. So if you'd like, no pun intended, if you'd like to help out Ben Wheeler, who's a A+ great one, feel free to do that. I'm sad about Borderlands 3 because there are thousands of people who made that, but I don't want to give that person any money. Mr. Bob, I didn't play Borderlands 3. I would have liked to. I mean, on the small scale, a friend of mine did a voice unfortunately, a friend of mine who works for that company did a voice in the game, and I hope that she was compensated way more than other people who used to work for Gearbox were not, including Mikey Newman. But a lot of other people were never compensated beyond their regular pay because they're doing one for the company. They're helping out the company. And also, Sungwon Cho, ProZD, does a voice in the game. And I love supporting ProZD, because ProZD is a voice actor who found fame on the internet, which people think that's how he became a voice actor. He already was one, but he's certainly way more high profile, and by all accounts, a great dude. And so I want to support ProZD in his endeavors, in the world of voice acting. I would love to hear ProZD in more video games, because that's just a great person. But that's not enough for me to want to support Borderlands. Because no thank you. I love supporting creators. Yeah. But yeah, it's supporting creators is something you go beyond. Yeah. I mean, like, I want to support my friends when they do cool shit. I want to support people that I like who are, especially folks that have like hustled and worked hard, like imagine, like, in the grand scheme of things, also that you're like, one of your claims to fame that people don't even realize is you, but you certainly helped you, is that you did you sang Evanescence as Goofy and blew up on Tumblr. Which is just a fun, weird, specific thing that is a ProZD thing. Enough that the members of the band of Evanescence have heard it, and then later were excited to meet Sungwon at a convention they were both attending. Someone was just like, the guy that did Goofy and sang the song, he's over there. And they were like, bring him here, please. Because they wanted to meet him, which is just the weirdest shit. Uh, but yeah, I love goofy stuff like that. Um, yeah, so I want to support people that do cool things. Yeah, she does seem like a really cool person. Uh, and yeah, I always want to support people that do cool, unique, interesting things like that, or have made a name for themselves and get things done. But like, I don't want to I don't want to put money in Randy Pitchford's pocket. I know what he'll spend that money on, and I don't approve it. So no, thank you. Uh, but yeah, what am I gonna say? I don't know. We're gonna take a pause for the cause in a moment or two. I'm gonna try to do a little more of these legs here, and then we'll take a pause. I'll talk about ways you can support the channel because it's a new month, so why not figure out ways to help me keep doing shit. But we'll talk about that in a minute. It is the end of one season and the beginning of another when it comes to anime. Technically, today, the fall 2020 anime season started. But only 2 new ongoing shows and 1 special came out today. The special came out at 8 p.m. It is 3 episodes called Burn the Witch. So I did not watch Burn the Witch. Now, why did it come out at 8 p.m. when it was out in the afternoon? I don't know, but it did. So I didn't watch Burn the Witch. It's 3 episodes. They're like 20 minutes each. It's basically like a movie, an hour-long movie broken up into parts. I will watch that in the future. Did not watch it for tonight because, as I said, it was so soon to the stream. So I did not check that out, but I will in the future. But only 2 shows actually came out today that are new, that were picked up, I should say. One of them is Higurashi, When They Cry, the remake of the original Higurashi, which is an anime based on a game and a horror game that has a psychological horror nonsense anime. And I didn't watch that because, good night, Harold. Happy to have you here for a little bit. Thanks for coming by. Have a great one. See you later. So I did not watch Higurashi When They Cry because I don't want to watch that because I've already seen that anime when it first aired, some of it, and never finished it. So no thanks to that. And then the other anime I watched we'll talk about after the break. Or the pause for the cause, at least. Because I did watch that. But I also finished off a terrible... This is going to be bad, right? I'm going to forewarn you, folks. There wasn't good stuff coming out of this. The three things we're going to talk about in the anime portion, I don't have positive things to say. One was an okay, I guess, episode of a show, ongoing. One was a lame, nonsensical end to a series that wasn't great, that I decided to finish kind of out of spite a bit, but also just because I want to talk about it. And the third was an episode of a show that I don't think I'm going to continue watching because no, but I want to talk about it. All right. Let's get this together here. Sorry, everybody. The feet parts of this kit are a little weird. They're a little wonky. I do remember that. This bottom piece here, I might end up having to glue or tack on because it doesn't really want to stay. It never did in the 90s version. It didn't like to do it in the 2010 re-release of this kit. So I might just end up tacking that on later because, yeah, it doesn't really like to stay. Which is frustrating because it's y'all designed this. Do it right. They didn't. So I'll put that down, but that still might pop off. All right, I'm going to get the other one done here, and then we'll take our pause for the cause. And I'll talk about some ways you can support the channel and various other things, and then we'll get back to building, and I'll talk about some anime stuff. And then we'll talk about other things, I guess. That is one of the things I liked a lot about doing this is I did not expect to talk about Kickstarter backing and projects and all of that. I was just like, oh, I'll probably talk about retweeting things. I figured I would talk about that, but I did not expect to talk about any other projects or any other things on stream. So I do like that about these things. Sometimes I don't know where we're going to go, where the conversation is going to take us. And that always makes me happy. All right, and there we go. All right, so let's take a pause for the cause. We'll finish these feed off after the break there. I messed that up. So, first and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber, you can go to the Baer Cave, the Lego the Scythe emote into chat. I would appreciate that very much. Let the people know that's what's up. That's what you're doing. If you're not currently a subscriber, there's two ways to do it. Well, you could use Cash Money. That would be a recurring thing. Feel free to do that. I would love it. You don't have to. Everything I'm going to talk about ways to support the channel are optional. They are not things that you have to do, but if you'd like to do them, I would love that and I would appreciate that. But yeah, if you're a subscriber, you can throw those emotes in the chat and let the people know that's what's up. You could also use your Prime Gaming sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you link to Twitch. You have a token you use once a month. And that's just like Cash Money on my end. I get it just like you would if you were using cash, which is awesome. You can also gift subs. You could join the leaderboard for gifting subscriptions. Right now there's nobody up there because it's a brand new month. You could also use bits and coins. You saw Harold earlier do that. That's another great way to support the channel and support what I do. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel alternatively to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, what's up, YouTuber? You can check all of this in the description, in the show description below this video. And that's the way to do that. It's the first day of the month, which means it's absolutely, positively the best day to join my Patreon because you get a full month by joining it today. So you join patreon.com/PatBaer. There's a $1 tier, a $3 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier. The $1 and $3, obviously cheaper than being a subscriber here. $1 a month, you get, basically I'll tell you my schedule, I'll let you know about what's going on, anything important going on with me, I send messages out, and then also there's a monthly Q&A that is just Patreon exclusive. Nobody else gets it, just the Patreon. You get that at $1. $3, you get all the $1 stuff, and then once a month, you get to vote on what I do in my bonus streams. So you can pick a game I play. I'll give you some options as a poll. That's hopefully interesting. $5, you get all of my videos a day early. So tonight, when the stream is done, I'll upload it, and I'll send it out to my $5 and $10 patrons. And then the next day, everybody else can watch it. But that includes Pat Baer's Anime Club, my mailbag videos, my weekly Baering the List videos, anything I make, they get a day early. Now, $10 gets all that other stuff, and $10 a month also, several times a month, I will put a poll up of what I have in my backlog, and my $10 patrons can vote on what I build next. And that's an exclusive club because there's not that many people there, and some of them don't vote all the time. So they'll decide what I build after the Deathscythe. And while I can imagine they might pick one thing, like I'll put that out there for a poll and see what people say. And so that's my Patreon. I usually don't give that long of a thing, but it is the beginning of the month. It's the best day to get in there. And in fact, I'm building model kits on Monday because my Patreon's at $150. Because I have enough patrons to hit the $150 mark, I unlocked the third day of building. And that's only thanks to them, which is great. So that's another way to support. Also, everything I make on Patreon, YouTube ad revenue, I'll get a check for that probably sometime next year, the way things are going. This year on Twitch, all of that goes to buying model kits. This kit was expensive. The kit I'm building right now. This was a premium Bandai kit. This cost a bunch of money. That came from my fund of money that has been collected via Patreon and Twitch. Another way to do that is to just do a direct thing through Coffee, a one-time, Streamlabs, or PayPal. And you can just do that, and I will buy kits that way. That just goes into a fund, and then I take funds out of that to buy model kits. I also have an Amazon wish list. If you were like, Pat, I know you have a backlog. You got 3 other things from Bandai. You have a couple other kits besides that. Don't build any of those. Instead, build what I buy from your Amazon wish list. Because if I buy something from the Amazon wish list, it jumps the queue. And you're right. I've got inexpensive Lego sets. I've got more expensive model kits. I do want to point out there, there's high grade kits. There is some more expensive stuff on there, some real grades. There are a bunch of different kits out there you can pick up. And as I said, it will come to me in the mail, and I'll build it. I'll make a little video, open my mailbag, and say like, "Oh, look, I got this. Ooh, someone bought me the Gundam, the Gun EZ Victory Gundam. That's an RE100 kit. That is, that's available. Oh, someone bought that. Oh, someone bought me the Jengen from Char's Counterattack. That's a great, cool master grade, and it's a really neat color that you don't see in Gundam that often." Those are some of the things that I would say if you bought something from my wish list. You're under no obligation to do any of those things. Also, as an alternative, you can go to USA Gundam Store if you wanted to. You go to USA Gundam Store, you buy a gift card. I don't have a wish list there, but you buy a gift card. They send you a code in your email. So here's your code, and then you just DM me on Twitter and be like, "Hey, here you go. Build something cool," and I'll do that. Or you could be like, "Hey, I saw this thing is up for pre-order. Here's enough money to get it. Build it on stream." And I would do that too. 2 kits I'm having sometime in October that I got from USA Gundam Store pre-orders were both paid by folks that watch the streams. And so I'm going to build those things. All right, real quick. I'm going to get back to building in a minute. Let me just go through this stuff. I have a Discord. You could join my Discord. That doesn't cost you any money. If you want to support what I do and you don't have the money to help me out, join my Discord. Just join my Discord. That's a fun thing. I post build photos at the end of every stream. People post stuff they're working on. We've got some questions that come in there, and people try to help out. It's a nice little group of folks. Very chill. Very laid back. Pat Baer's Anime Club is a video series I do. If you were looking to figure out what to watch from the last season of anime, this latest episode is my summer anime roundup. So if you're like, what did Pat think of all these shows? I include some shows that I don't talk about here on the stream because, I wasn't going to give you the play-by-play of every episode of Monster Girl Doctor. I watched Monster Girl Doctor, and I talked about it on the stream, or this video. But I don't talk about it every other week because I'm not gonna. But I did watch it, and I'll tell you I watched it. I did not love it, but I did like it. And there are parts of it that are great. There are parts of it that are very much not great. It is a mixed bag. And then, Baering the List. I got a new episode of Baering the List. This is a real goofy one. Baering the List, I use Tier Maker to rank things. This is pictures of Michael Cera. I ranked pictures of Michael Cera, and there's a twist in the video, and I won't tell you what the twist is. You'll get it right away. It's one of the silliest and possibly worst Baering the Lists I've ever made. If that entices you to watch it, please do. Please watch my YouTube videos and watch the ads that are presented because I make pennies if you do that. All right, I'm going to drink a little water. Then we're going to talk about the anime that I watched in the last couple days since the last build stream on Monday, my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday anime, and then we'll get back to doing some building. All right, well, water, ready to go. Get rid of this. I just got to do some prep work here. Thanks for sticking around. I know it's weird when I do my ad breaks, especially for folks that are here all the time or that are already subscribers or have already helped me out on Kickstarter. And you're like, Pat, what's going on? Not Kickstarter, Patreon. Kickstarter. We're talking about Kickstarter. Okay. So let's talk about anime while I finish working on our feet here. So I have 3 things to talk about. I have my ongoing, the last episode of a show, which is technically now the end of this season, although maybe you would count another show that has been delayed and isn't done yet, but whatever. Probably the last episode of a season is this, and a new show. So we'll start with Black Clover. Black Clover is in a filler arc right now. It is bad. It started off as being fine, and it has turned into bad, and I just want this arc to be over. Anyway, the Devil Banishers are going to execute Nero and Mari. They don't. It's a ploy to get to Asta, of course. You got some different squads. You get some characters we haven't seen in a while, which is kind of neat. What happens? They think they captured Asta. It's not Asta. It's Gray in disguise. Gray can transform. Gray transformed into Asta, which is cool. And they don't use that trick enough. I like it. So that happens. There's a big fight. Let's see. Oh yeah. So Finral can't catch them. They try to do that. The Banishers disrupt the mana. Things are happening. Things are going. Banishers lead Vanessa away. One of them away, and because she's the one that controls fate, so they know that. They've done their research on the Magic Knights. And weirdly enough, two of them that she's like, hey, I don't have to help you anymore. They just killed themselves. And that seems, for some regular old people in this community who are mad at the people they've been blaming, the Devil Banishers, that seems way more hardcore than one might expect. I was like, whoa, that's weird. Because they didn't want their minds to be read. And I was like, oh, that's unusual. Bit more dramatic. So Asta managed to get Marie away, but the Banishers escape with Nero and Asta's Grimoire, which has the devil inside of it, which they shouldn't necessarily know, but do know, which is also weird. And I'm like, what's going on? This seems a little odd. Anyway, Mari's okay. So it turns out some of the Devil Banishers were hired, and they're not believers. And the organizers of this, not all of them, but some of them, they're not Devil Banishers. They're devil believers. They were after Asta's Grimoire this whole time. You see, they manipulated some of these people to do the bad things they're doing. It wasn't just that they were all on the same page and taking the law into their own hands and overreacting in some ways, but justifiably in others. And to which you could be like, oh, wow, there's definitely some stuff you could take away from this that's interesting. Nope, it was the work of devil believers, devil worshippers, who are probably from that evil kingdom. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. I can't wait for this arc to be over. This filler arc that was supposed to explain how people powered up before the end of this arc into the next one is bad. It is a bad arc, and it's a bummer, because it could have been pretty cool. And there are a couple episodes that are fun in this. This particular little storyline is not fun, but there are a couple that are good. I also want to say, I did tweet this out, so Crunchyroll put like a trailer together, because like they added a new song, the new theme, so they're like, oh, Black Clover is back. And I was like, well, one, Black Clover went away for like 2 weeks during Japan's quarantine. But also, and that was a while ago, and also it's not back. It's in the filler arc. Like, if you should wait until the filler arc is over to be like, hey, catch up on Black Clover. Because it's like, nah, it's not good right now. It's barely okay. So that was a weird thing for them to be like promote the show when it's not great right now. Anyway, GIbiate. GIbiate is now over. The last episode of GIbiate aired. I got caught up in the show. I stopped watching the show because I had other things to watch, and it wasn't great. But I was like, I've watched almost all of this. I now need to know what happens, because I'm going to spoil GIbiate. It's a terrible series. You should not watch it. Please listen to me tell you nonsense about this show. So the premise of the show if you haven't heard, um, is there's a virus that mutates humanity and turns them into big monsters. And in the show, these monsters are CG instead of digital animation, and they look terrible. It looks bad and is not a good presentation of these monsters. So that happens, right? Also, and humanity's kind of on its last legs. There are pockets all over the world, but not a lot of humanity is left. There's a doctor that's searching for He wants to study samples of the monsters, GIbiate, the humans that turned into monsters, GIbiate, to create a serum or something, some kind of thing, some kind of serum, right? Meanwhile, for a reason that was only explained in the last fucking episode, time travel happens. A ninja and a samurai who are traveling on the same boat, who know each other, but they were on opposing sides because they're a ninja and a samurai, travel to modern times. Also, a warrior monk travels in time a little later, but he is from a time previous to the ninja and the samurai. They all arrive in modern times, and they are well equipped to fight these monsters because they are a badass ninja, a badass samurai who, for some reason, also learned how to use a broadsword. So he uses a katana and a broadsword. And it's weird. And it is explained. It's still weird. Also, there is a moment, which I'm only saying now so that when I talk about this later, it makes even less sense. There's a moment where they go and they're like traveling and they come across a museum that is doing an exhibit on ancient Japan, and they find their weapons. They find, like, the guy finds his sword. The monk finds the club that his warrior trainer and best friend, who died right before he came forward in time, wielded. They find sentimental value things in this museum piece. And you're kind of thinking, like, hey, what's up with this fucking time travel shit? Why'd time travel happen, in this story? Whatever. This is original anime. Okay, sure. We're just going to go with it, right? So a bunch of stuff happens. We meet a bunch of cool characters. We meet some not so cool characters. There's some villains who are not GIbiate, that there are gangsters, and they work for a Yakuza boss, and they escaped prison, and they're all varied and different, and it's a whole thing. And there's a former cop that is now... She was a cop, but then she also she's a punk rocker, so she uses, like clubs, but then also grenades and a shotgun, and she's pretty fucking cool. Anyway, every character that rules, every minor character that is awesome, is dead by the 12th episode. 100%. Every cool character is completely dead. If you liked a character in that show, they are dead. Sorry, they are now dead. Can't help you. They're dead. And they've been chased by this hyper-intelligent GIbiate who is huge. Not hyper-intelligent, sorry. Hyper-giant. It's completely CG and it's terrible. Well, they kill that thing. And the doctor that they've been traveling with, who has been looking for samples and trying to make some sort of antidote to fix the GIbiate, he's like, you killed my wife. And they're rightfully like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, it turns out that the GIbiate, the monsters from this show, well, they are byproducts of a virus brought to Earth by the doctor and his bride, who are aliens from another planet. And she was turned into this monster, and the other samples of it turned humanity into monsters. And he has not been fighting for a cure. He has been fighting for a way to make her, restore her intelligence again. So she's a monster, but she still has the brain that she has. So that's what he's been doing this whole time. He tricked them all. But then they killed her. So now he's like, well, I'm going to kill you. So now he's a mutated GIbiate, but he also kept his intelligence. And at first, he's digital art, and he looks kind of cool. He's the coolest looking monster in the whole show. But don't worry, that doesn't last for that long. It gets fucking worse. It had to get worse, and then it does get worse. So he's fighting, and he's just whooping everyone's ass. We're down to just the ninja, the samurai, the Yakuza boss guy, who was the father of the cop. What? He's still alive somehow. And Kathleen. Kathleen is the blonde-haired. She's half Japanese, half American. And she is kind of the heart and soul of the show. She's got a taser, which is pretty cool. She helps out. She's not a warrior, but she's just, she's there to help remind people what they're fighting for, which is like, remember when like the world was pretty cool and like 19-year-olds decided not, didn't pursue college because they were going to take some time off to find themselves, and she wishes she had gone to college because the world is hell. Anyway, so she's doing her thing. They run. The doctor is strong and fast, and he's getting better at fighting. The samurai's katana breaks, and that's fucked up. And Kathleen then returns and shoots her taser, and the taser does damage the doctor. She does better than the samurai was doing. But is it enough? No, it is not enough. It is not enough to stop the doctor. And then he mutates even more. And now he's fully CG. He's got a horn, he's got tail. He looks awful because he is a CG monster in a digital art, and it looks just bad. It just looks bad. It is a bad looking show now, art for this monster. Anyway, the doctor explains the time travel, and it doesn't make sense, and it's terrible, and I'll do my best to explain how they tried to explain it. So, as the spaceship that he was on was crash landing to Earth, it was doing some sort of hyper-specific, very unbelievable, some sort of great brain waves were involved. It was scanning brain waves, trying to find something. And the ship interpreted Kathleen's wish, because she wished on it like it was a comet, but it was a spaceship. So she wished that that she would be stronger and that people would come to help them. And apparently, that's why people time traveled. Kathleen, a young lady, wished for strength on a shooting star, but the shooting star was a spaceship who granted her wish by sending 3 warriors from the past, and I had to write that down because it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And then Kathleen takes that poorly for some reason, because, they went through a lot of, trouble because of that, and she blames herself, but that doesn't really make any sense. They are warriors, and one of them was just gonna die if he didn't come forward in time. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like you didn't do a bad thing there, but sure, grieve, feel bad about it, I guess. Anyway, so the Yakuza guy shows up because he had run away, but he came back. He offers the samurai the Yakuza's sword, which is not as strong as the old one, but is still a good sword. And then he charges the doctor, and he's rigged his body with sticks of dynamite he took off from the bag that belonged to his now deceased daughter. And he blows up, and it hurts the doctor, kills the Yakuza guy, but it hurts the doctor enough that the samurai can chop off the doctor's head, and then the ninja throws the remaining dynamite on the body to make sure it's dead and can't mutate again. And then a bunch of the GIbiate monsters show up because it's dark out, and they're going to jump on a boat, but the samurai can't jump on a boat with them because he's been stung by the monsters, and he's afraid that he might turn into a monster and can't risk turning into a monster while on the boat. So he stays behind while the ninja and Kathleen board the boat to go wherever and do whatever, because the doctor was their last hope. And so I don't know what they're doing now, but they're like gonna go off and figure stuff out. And he's got a GPS of them, so he can track them if he doesn't turn into a monster. And that's the end of a truly terrible anime. GIbiate is bad. I don't understand why this was a Crunchyroll original, which means they helped with the production costs of this show. I can only assume whoever made it was making something else and it was part of a package deal. It now is the worst. Didn't that happen in the Dawn of the Dead movie? Yes, it is. It is also trite. It's like, oh, I think I might, because the thing is, like, if the stinger from the Gibia doesn't have venom in it or whatever, you don't turn into a monster. But he doesn't. But you won't know. And he's like, well, I don't want to find out on this boat that I can turn. I don't want you to have to fight me on this boat. Ving Rhames' character was bit, so he didn't get on the boat at the end. Yes, Dirty, you're right. Yeah, but he knew he was going to turn into a zombie, whereas there's thoughts that he might not. Look, a wish granted on a spaceship is... I understand explaining why time travel happened is a hard thing. Yeah, like I said, the only thing I think of is that they had to license this show, and nobody wanted to, but it was the only way to get another thing they wanted. It now is the worst of the Crunchyroll originals, so no other show, I don't think any show can ever be the worst Crunchyroll original, because I feel like that is by far the worst possible Crunchyroll original, and nothing can be any worse than this. So, congratulations, GIbiate. You are just awful. Oof. Oofta doofta. But you should look up, folks. Please look up that terrible animation, the CG for the monsters, because it's truly horrendous. And it's very funny that, like, Crunchyroll did almost no promotion of the show, even though it's one of their originals. And it was like, yeah, it ain't good. So they're just like, yeah, well, we're not going to mention it anymore. Because, whew, it's bad. So anyway, now I want to talk to you about Assault Lily BOUQUET. Assault Lily BOUQUET is a original series. Well, it's not based on a manga. That'll say that. It's not based on a manga. This is an anime that is inspired by a series of dolls that like a I don't know why. I don't know why my phone thought that I was talking to it. So it is based on a series of dolls that came out in Japan, called Assault Lilies. I'm going to tell you the premise of this show. Right now, I will tell you the premise of this series, which just started today. It is one of the two shows that came out today, and a special. It said Burn the Witch. I said earlier, I didn't watch Burn the Witch because it didn't come out till 8 p.m., so I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I will watch it in the near future. Do the dolls do anything, or are they just American Girl dolls? I don't know. Bobby. I apologize. I do not know anything about these dolls other than they're based on dolls. So here's what I can tell you. In the future, the Huge, with a capital H, are monsters. And they can only be defeated by folks that wield charm, which is huge arms. So C cross H huge arm arms. Uh, and the people that wield them are called lilies, and they go to military training schools to learn how to use the charms, these weapons. And these military schools where they learn it are called gardens. Get it? Because they're lilies in the garden. And so, turns out, which is very convenient for this anime, the best folks to use lilies happen to be young ladies. So the people who are lilies who use the charms are ladies. And there was an opening thing, which is a flashback to the main character watching herself be saved by a lily fighting this huge. And she's like, "Oh, that looks awesome. Oh, that looks cool. I'm gonna train." That is the premise of this show. The huge are a combination of they are digital, which I was like, oh, hell yeah. The huge are digital. They're not CG monsters. But their attacks are CG because it's cheaper. And the lilies are drawn in digital, as you would expect. But their charms, their weapons, are all CG because the CG has to hit the CG because they're going to fight. And I turned it off during the opening song. Because if the opening animation made me go, fucking yikes, for a premise I already think is a borderline just like ridiculous, unnecessary nonsense, school training thing. Oh, I bet the main character, she's a crybaby, she's never going to make it, but turns out she's she's been the extra charmed one the whole time. And she unlocks something, and one of them is not who they seem, and one of them is part huge or whatever nonsense. And it turns out the huge are just humans the whole time, and they've been killing humans instead of saving them, or whatever nonsense is going to happen in the show. But it just the CG looked so bad that I was like, nope. Now, will I maybe regret this? Because there's a lot of shows coming out right now, but most of the stuff I want to watch comes out on Friday and Saturday. So far, very few things come out on Sunday and Monday. A couple things do, and so far, next season or the next week, I'll find out if anything I want to watch comes out on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I don't know. So I may be looking. I might go back to this because it comes out on Thursdays. And I might be like, well, I guess I got to watch this. But I doubt it because it was awful. So I doubt I'm going to go back to it. But yeah, so that's my review of the show. Ooh, this is just popping out. Okay, no, that's right. All right. That's my review of Salt Lily's Bouquet, which is my way of saying I'm not going to watch that anime. It looked bad. The only reason I even checked it out was because it came out today, and I thought I was going to watch at least one of the. So Burn the Witch is like a 3-part video. Crunchyroll put it out, or helped put it out. And I was like, oh, I'll watch that. I'll at least check that out. But that came out at 8 p.m., so I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I'll try. I probably won't watch it till next week because tomorrow I don't know if anyone picked up. Oh no, maybe Crunchyroll picked up. I know Crunchyroll picked up the 100-man thing. Yeah, so like tomorrow I am gonna try to watch let's see. Wandering Witch, The Journey of Alana, which is kind of like what if Kino had even more magic and Kino was just a witch. I'm going to probably end up watching I'm Standing on a Million Lives, which is an isekai, but has kind of a unique take on isekai that I'm maybe interested in. Uh, uh, I'm not going to watch Hypnosis Rap Battle because that just seems bad, and I don't need to watch that. It just seems like a bad show that I'm like, no, I'm good. So I'm gonna skip Hypnosis Rap Battle. I'll probably watch clips of Hypnosis Rap Battle because it just sounds like such a bad premise that I kind of want to hear what happened about it, but not watch it. You know what I mean? Um, is it wrong to try to pick up Girls in a Dungeon season 3? I'm certainly going to watch. This seems like this is going to be the dramatic one, and I'm kind of up for that. I'm up for some drama on that. I don't think anyone's going to get Rail Romanesque, so I don't expect to watch that. I am going to watch Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You. I know that's coming to Crunchyroll, so I'll be watching that. There's just a lot of stuff that comes out on Fridays. King's Raid, definitely skipping based on a video game. Didn't look interesting. Definitely skip that. Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen. Definitely going to check that out. That seems like a very cool action show. It's a guy that gets caught up in some. He gets cursed, and there are people that dispose of folks that have been cursed, and he's like, well, instead of just taking me out, let me fight and use this curse to fight other people, other curses, and before I die or turn into a monster, put me to work, which is a pretty cool start for a show. It's a short series, so I'm definitely going to watch With a Dog and a Cat Every Day is Fun. Let me say the name of that anime one more time in case you missed the name of that anime. With a Dog and a Cat Every Day is Fun. That's a short. I'm definitely going to be watching that because that's incredible. It's just an incredible name. I believe that's a 10-minute show or a 5-minute show. Haikyuu, I'm actually going to wait on Haikyuu because I watched that all at once. I marathon that show, and so I would like to not watch it episodically. I'd like to watch it in a marathon setting, so I'm actually going to not watch that right now, and I'll watch a bunch of them at once. Fire Force, I'm going to skip out on. I'm at least going to watch the first episode of Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, because it's a Dragon Quest anime, and that seems kind of cool. So I'll at least watch that. I'll always watch that once, and we'll see if it's great or bad or whatever. That's all stuff that's coming out on Friday. And then on Saturday, there's Yashahime, which is the sequel to Inuyasha that features Sesshomaru's daughters and Inuyasha and Kakone's daughter. And they're going on a grand adventure. Sounds fucking rad. What's her name? Is her name Beniyashu? I think her name is Beniyashu. She uses a sword like her dad and a bow like her mom, and I think that's just cool that she's just like, I don't know, my parents are pretty dope. I'm just gonna use both. Someone was like, "Is this gonna be another Boruto?" And I'm like, I hope it's not another Boruto. It could be another Boruto. And then also on Saturday, I gonna watch a regular Magic School and also Sports Climbing Girls. And then for Monday, on Sunday, let's see if there's anything coming on Sunday. I don't know. Yeah, right now, Sunday is By the Grace of Gods. And maybe I'll watch Talentless Nana. I don't think I will. Talentless Nana is another one of those like school settings people have to learn, but the main character has no abilities. He helps fight the pillars, or the enemy of humanity. Sorry, they're the pillars. They fight the enemy of humanity, but he doesn't have any abilities of his own. He's talentless. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll watch that. But By Grace of the Gods is a chill slice of life isekai, and I'm going to watch that. It's got all those great slime friends. And then Monday is is the sleeping. Oh, I don't know if this has been picked up yet. I hope it is. Is the princess, the anime about the princess. So I might. Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple ones I didn't notice. It looks like there's a thing about like surfing that nobody picked up, which I was actually surprised about. But that came out, and yeah. So now I'm just kind of seeing like what's going to be happening, what's going to be coming out. There's so much stuff that comes out on Friday and Saturday that I might push one of them, like because like so late Saturday night a show comes out, One Piece comes out, and I just watched that for Monday. So I might take a show that comes out on Friday or Saturday and watch it for the next day because, like, just a lot. There's just a lot of shows out, and I'm like I don't want to watch on Friday and Saturday and watch like 6 shows to talk about. Like, I don't mind talking about like 4 or even maybe even I think 5 is the most. So if there's all these shows I want to watch. Like, part of the reasons that's why I'm giving up on Fire Force, and I'm just going to watch a lot of Fire Force at the end of the season. And right now I'm going to keep with Black Clover because I'm looking forward to the filler arc ending. It would be great to have the filler arc end because I'm sick of the filler arc. Anyway, that's what's going on with anime. But there are a few shows I don't know if anyone's picking them up. I haven't seen any mention of them yet. Crunchyroll does list stuff. Funimation does put trailers out, but there are things that neither site mentions. And also I haven't looked to see what's on Amazon because Amazon doesn't promote anything. You just find out. Netflix is pretty good about saying stuff. They're usually pretty good about putting things out. But also they do put things in jail where you just you can't watch it until it's all done and then it'll all come out at some other point and they just like make their decision about when they want to promote their thing. Which is frustrating if you get excited about an anime. You can't watch it. Like Dorohedoro. Just like, nope, you don't get to watch that right now. We'll watch it later. Sorry. But yeah, I'm going to try to keep up on stuff. Like I said, I am going to try a few things that show the talentless Nana. Like, I think I think Crunchyroll's picking that up. But if somebody picks that up, like, if it's a show that comes out on Monday and I don't have a lot of stuff to watch on Sunday and Monday, like, yeah, I'll check it out. Might as well. I wonder if that anime that's the stand-up comedians, I wonder if anybody picked that up. I'd be really surprised if anyone did. It's like it's basically an idol show, but instead of wanting to be musicians, a music group, it's a bunch of young girls that want to be stand-up comedians. And the idea that would work at all is interesting. And 2, the idea that could translate, even through subtitles and jokes would work is just another idea that I'm like, I kind of want to see that. Kind of want to know if that works or not. But I am, yeah. And then also, like I said, there's stuff that's coming out that, like, I get why other people are excited about it. I can't be excited about it because I don't enjoy the product. But, like, if you like psychological horror, you should watch Higurashi When They Cry. That's on Funimation. The first episode came out. It is a remake of the anime that was already out, which was based on the video game. And if you like that shit, you should watch that shit. I don't. I stopped watching the original. I'm not going to watch this version of it. that just does not hold any appeal for me. It is not my scene and not my style. I like my action. I like my my isekai and my fighting animes, and I like my comedies. Oh, also, I don't know if anyone picked up or oh no, so I think the Dachi and yes, Dachi and Shimaru. Somebody picked that up, I think, because there's an anime coming out of that. Like, yeah, give me my slow burn and gay anime. Funimation has acquired the series. Great. Funimation picked that up. Excellent. But yeah, give me my slow burn. Will they? Won't they? Yuri story. Like, please give me this Yuri story. Especially because it doesn't look like that. The surfing, the gay surfing show got picked up by anybody because the first episode came out today and it's not on the service. That doesn't mean, because sometimes like they'll just like show up like a week later, like last minute. It got licensed. It took a while because there were some back and forth, and it didn't look like it was going to happen, and suddenly it did. And then just like the first 2 episodes will show up on a service, and then they're like, hey, and next week episode 3 will be at this time. Like that happens. I'm trying to think of the show. Oh, so there was a show that was like Science Fell in Love, and I tried to prove it. What came out all at once on Amazon Prime in Japan, but then the first 3 episodes came out all at once on Crunchyroll, and then it was every episode every week. So it was done in Japan, but then we got it like slow turnout. And then there was that Wise Man's Grandchild was an anime that was on Hulu for like 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it was also on Crunchyroll. Like kind of out of nowhere. I was like, oh, okay. Sure, all right. I'll definitely prefer, especially over on Hulu. I was definitely like, oh, great. Now I can watch this without ad breaks, even though I pay them money. I'm so happy I don't watch stuff on Hulu anymore. It's so much easier to just not watch Hulu, to watch things on Funimation. While I do prefer Crunchyroll's player to Funimation's player, just the very idea of using that over Hulu is so great. Obviously, like, I lose out on all the other stuff Hulu had, the non-anime stuff, but I wasn't really using it for that. I was mostly using it, almost exclusively using it for anime. So, and then there was stuff that Funimation got that Hulu didn't get because their licensing deals. So it's just like, okay. It just made so much more sense to switch to Funimation. And I'm glad I did. Anyway, we only got a couple minutes left. I'm going to finish this part of the leg here. But we've only got a little time left here on the old stream. We're going to raid. That's what we do here is we go on raid somebody. I'll find someone cool. I do apologize. Last night, apparently Cameron... I didn't realize that Cameron was going to wrap up his stream. We had a fun raid there because he was painting miniatures, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I never raid like people doing crafting, but he apparently did not. He did raid somebody else, but he wasn't on for that long, so I apologize for that. I will try to find someone I know who usually streams later. But I was just excited to see his name appear as someone that we could go and raid. It didn't occur to me that I should do my due diligence to see what else he might be doing. All right, so let's assemble our legs, and then we'll go and give a raid. I will be back again on Saturday, continuing this project. My $10 patrons, I will be putting a poll out for you about what I build after this. I don't think I'm going to finish on Saturday, but I'm going to get close to it. So I will be putting a message out tomorrow because I think we won't. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to wrap up on Saturday because don't have much left of the legs to do, but I still have to do the waist, which is nothing really, and then the backpack. I don't think it's gonna take a little while to do the wings, but I like to know ahead of time. So I'll put a poll out there tomorrow to see about what we build after this, because we're almost done with the legs. We got to do a little more on the top, obviously, but we got some work done today. So let's find someone to raid. Again, you don't have to come on these raids, but I would love it if you did, because it's nice to share the love, and also maybe you're like looking for something else to do. So I'll find someone cool. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know how long. Speaking of Cameron, Cameron is streaming, but I don't know how long he's going to be. So we're not this time, Cameron. Respect you, but not this time. All right. Well, Mary has a guest. We're gonna go raid Mary Kish. Mary Kish is another night of spooky, scary stuff. Mary has a Wii mode out and is playing a Silent Hill game. So we're gonna go raid Mary Kish because fuck that sounds great. So come along with me if you don't want spooky or scary, or two young wonderful ladies screaming a little bit. Maybe you don't want to come on this, but feel free to come along for the raid. Mary fucking rules. Her community is rad. We have some crossover between the two. Some of her mods hang out. And yeah, she and Nina, Hentai PhD, are playing a spooky game. So come along for that. Thanks so much for watching the old Build with Baer. I'll see you on Saturday as we continue working on this kit. We're getting there. We're almost on the new parts. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great night. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.